So according to a new study from PricewaterhouseCoopers and Families and Work Institute, they found that gay couples, when it comes to domestic duties, are a lot more egalitarian than straight ones. Now, according to the 225 gay and straight dual income couples surveyed, same-sex couples tend to communicate better, share chore duties, and more fairly and assign tasks based on personal preference rather than gender, income, hours worked, and power position in the relationship, whereas straight couples tend to talk less and fall into more traditional gender roles, what one family describes as pink chores, dishes, laundry, and blue chores, yard work, and auto work. So I want to pull up a chart here that shows how the division of laundry by couple type. As you can see, same-sex couples on the left predominantly, one person will take primary responsibility, but they share the responsibility a lot more than different sex couples. So that's kind of interesting. But the survey also found that 74% of gay couples share a completely even level of child raising versus 38% of the hetero contingent. And here's a chart that kind of explains that. That to me is insane. The 38% to me, it was really, really, I mean, I don't want to say surprising, but it's eye-opening.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of married women who think not surprised right, by that number. But look, obviously gay people do marriage better, and I believe in the sanctity of marriage, so I think that's it for straight people. Yeah, they obviously can't handle marriage. We got to take it away from them. I mean, look, Republicans already agree, right? We should have different rules for marriage for whether you're gay or straight. If it turns out gay people are better at it, I mean, what am I going to do, right?
Maybe we should be forced to get into gay marriages. Maybe. Some really fast, a little thing. Can we bring back up the division of laundry graphic? So apparently only same-sex couples can afford to hire someone to do laundry for them. I don't even know why that's on the chart.
Well, that's kind of funny.
No different sex couples hire a maid.
But maybe because they don't like default to gender norms. They're like, okay, well, if you don't want to do it and I don't want to do it, we'll just hire somebody to do it.
Yeah. Plus, let's get real. The reason why a lot of advertisers love to advertise in gay publications, etc., which the conservatives get mad about it, is because there's a lot more disposable income.
Yes.
So a lot of gay couples, not all, but a lot of gay couples have less kids or no kids. And so they have more disposable income, and hence they can afford to have someone do their laundry.
Yeah.
It's nice.
So what I want to say is I think it's interesting. We were talking about how there's a quote about the pink chores and the blue chores. And it seems like in an equal America, we would probably split those 50-50 to some extent. But I think the bigger problem is not sharing the same amount of chores, regardless of the chore type. And obviously you have to factor in if one or both people actually works a full-time job. Obviously, if somebody is gone for most of the day, they're probably going to do less of the chores. But assuming that you're both working the same amount, you should be doing the same amount. But once you get down to that, I mean, there's going to definitely be some difference off into the next few decades, at the very least, in what chores people feel more comfortable doing and what they have prior training to do. And so we could certainly get those numbers to be a little bit closer, but I don't think that they're going to be 50-50 anytime soon, just because when you get down to it, as long as people were doing the same amount of chores, men and women probably don't want to do the same ones as each other.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I find the fact that the gay couples do it better interesting in the sense that it's more equal, and there's more harmony. They talk more. That's also super
really
interesting.
That they communicate more about it.
Right, and more communication leads to more harmony. It has a number of positive effects, not just in how you share the chores. But it's also interesting that when you take away gender assumptions, you get a completely different result, which I think goes toward counter to what a lot of people say, which is, well, I mean, men like this and women like this, and that's just normal. Maybe not, right? And you see in this case that there's at least some evidence that that's not necessarily true.
Do you split equally?
Not remotely. Okay, and I do all the blue chores and almost none of the pink. Okay, but no, I'm just keeping it real. That you're right. That's what happens. But if I was married to a dude, totally different story. On the laundry, by the way, old school Young Turks viewers will know this. That was the first thing I ever splurged on because I made like $11,000 a year for like 10 years as a struggling radio talk show host, online talk show host, etc. But the minute I had any kind of money I could scrounge together, I got a cleaning lady for my one-bedroom apartment, mainly so she could do laundry. It was $60 once a month, okay? And it was the best $60 I ever spent.
A month between laundry?
Yeah, the laundry would be a mountain. Okay, rather than do laundry, even though again I didn't have a lot of money, I'd be like, I'll buy another $7 shirt.
Jesus Christ.
But eventually I had built up enough of a mountain that we could do that. So I'm with the gay couples on that one. Hire something.